What's up, guys? AsiaCaster here with another video. This is going to be a short video. I just wanted to explain the two major reasons why China will not invade Taiwan that most people don't understand, and the media is not talking about because the media likes to dramatize things and they like to make things, you know, exciting and interesting to watch. So if you think that they're going to come and invade, there's a big risk of invasion, gets you to watch the news and benefits them in the money wise. If they talk about the reasons why China will not invade Taiwan, and they convince you that it's actually not as likely as they make it seem, then you're going to be less interested in keeping your eyeballs on that screen, right, and watching the drama unfold. So let's get right into it. First, the first reason. Not the biggest reason. The biggest reason is the second one, but let's get into the first reason is the Malacca Strait, which China has 82% of their oil go through the Malacca Strait, which is just a small strait down in the South China Sea. And that's just an obvious one, right? If they do something, the West has leverage over they could easily disturb China. By disturbing that strait, you have huge leverage over China, right? Just creating havoc over there if China does decide to go into Taiwan. But here's the really big one that I wanted to explain that no one's really talking about. The CCP leaders, all the top people in China, most of their wealth is not in China, actually. This is for safety reasons for their own families. For example, Xi Jinping, his brother, first of all, it's interesting that most even Chinese people don't know this, is his brother is an Australian. He's not even a Chinese anymore. He got rid of his Chinese citizenship. He's now an Australian citizen, and he's loaded, billionaire, and he has a lot of money, and that all came obviously from Xi Jinping. And all of the leaders, they take their money and they leave it, they bring it out of China for safety reasons. Now, why? Is because if something happens in China, they're screwed. And if something does happen in China, they could just leave China, go to wherever their money is, Australia, the US. A lot of Chinese money is in these countries and from CCP and government leaders. So they can easily go there and live a nice life, right? They don't need to live in China if something does happen. That's a theme in how China operates, is they are scared of losing power is what they're scared of the most, right? Because it's not a democracy, right? If they lose power, their families are at risk, their lives are actually at risk. They could easily be thrown in jail for the rest of their lives, or even worse. So it's just a different dynamic. They kind of operate scared. So they put all their money abroad. Okay, now why does that matter? Well, if China, the West has this leverage over them that the West has never had to use and doesn't want to use. So they know they have this leverage. They used it. They've been using it with Russia a little bit, freezing some government leaders' assets abroad. But that's nothing compared to the China situation. Okay, the amount of money Chinese leaders have abroad, have in the U.S. is way greater than Russia, right? So they've always had this bullet, but they're not going to use this bullet on little things, on trade talks or Xinjiang, what's going on. They're holding out this, because you could only use it once. You do it once, and boom, you're if you do it, you're going to create a war too. So you're not going to use this for a little thing, because you'll only use it for a war. Because by itself, using this method and freezing their assets is going to start a war. The only time you do it is if there's a war already going on with the country. So that is why the number one thing these CCP leaders care about is themselves and their families. So if they invade Taiwan, they are putting themselves and their families at huge risks, and their assets at huge risks. A lot of the leaders, their families live abroad too. A lot. Not only is their money abroad, but they have houses in Canada, the U.S., Australia, wherever, Europe. And if anything, the U.S. knows this. They know they have these assets, most of them, and they could easily clamp down on that. So that is the big reason that I don't see China going into Taiwan. Now they will use rhetoric and try to scare and use words as a way of warfare. But as far as actually going in, that is going to, create a strong response from the West that they will. There's a good chance they will actually freeze assets. Not a good chance. I think more than likely. They're going to finally use this if a war does break out. And that's the last thing these leaders want. So there's a difference, right, between words and action. Being strong with their words, as China has been, is the U.S. they're not scared to do that. The U.S. isn't going to freeze their assets because they're strong with their words. What they're scared about is actually the U.S. doing that, is taking action, which would only be if they actually invade. So that's about it for this video. Just wanted to run down those two things. The media will never report on those two things, and even so-called experts sometimes, you'll see these foreigners that think they're experts on China, and they don't even understand this basic thing of how the Chinese government and the CCP, that when they have their assets abroad, they just want to do this sort of thing. So that's about it. Subscribe, guys. If you want me to make some more videos or whatnot on this topic, I can do that. I haven't made much videos. I just want to get that out there. I've been telling people, and I just realized most people don't understand this. Cool. Peace.